Welcome to the English and Life channel.
The lesson today is 250 common phrasal verbs. Account for. I hope you can account for your absence last night. I had to account for every penny I spent. Act up. I need to take my car to the mechanic because it's acting up again. My leg was acting up. I think I can't go out this evening. Agree with. I agree with you. I think she deserves the award too. Your body language does not agree with what you are saying. Ask out. She asked him out to the party this night. You should ask her out sometime. Ask around. If you ask around, someone there can give you directions to the airport. I have no idea, but I'll ask around at work and see if anyone can help. Add up to. The various building programs add up to several thousand new homes. Your purchases add up to $205.32. Answer back. The company criticized in a documentary was given the opportunity to answer back. Don't answer back to your mother. Aim to. The magazine is aimed at teenagers. They're aiming at reducing costs by 10%. Allow for. You should allow for delays when planning a journey. We have to allow for the possibility of the project being delayed. Allow of. The rules don't allow of any exceptions. The evidence allows of only one interpretation. He was murdered by his wife. Argue down. The teacher tried to argue the girl down, but she couldn't. She argued him down 10%. They tried to argue down the proposal. Argue out. If we can't argue out our differences out, we'll have to take them to court. Back away. The crowd backed away when a man pulled a knife. The government has backed away from plans to increase taxes. Back down. She refused to back down and was fired. Eventually, Roberto backed down and apologized. Back into. He prefers to back his car into the garage. Bail out. The government had to bail out the airline because it was losing so much money. Bail up. I was late because he bailed me up on the phone and wouldn't shut up. He was bailed up by a couple of muggers as he came out of a bank. Back up. All the evidence backs up her story. Make sure you back up your files. Back up. If you ask your mother for more money, I think she will back you up. My wife backed me up over my decision to pass the operation on heart. Be after. The police are after him because of a theft. Be along. The next bus should be along in the next quarter of an hour or so. Be away. She's away on business for 3 weeks. Blow up. The racing car blew up after it crashed into the fence. The boiler blew up, wrecking the whole house. Blow up. We have to blow 50 balloons up for the party. They blew the plane up on the ground with dynamite. Break down. The washing machine broke down again over Christmas. Our relationship was breaking down, and I think I knew I was going to leave her. Break down. Our teachers broke the final project down into 3 separate parts. Enzymes in mouth and stomach break the food down. Break in. The thieves broke in last night and stole our stereo. The TV station broke in to report the news of the president's death. Break into. Firemen had to break into the room to rescue the woman. 2 raiders broke into his home. Break in. I need to break these shoes in before we run next weekend. My new hiking boots will be great once I've broken them in. Break up. She's broken up with her boyfriend. The kids just broke up as soon as a clown started talking. Break out. They broke out of prison and fled the country. Fighting broke out in the stands 5 minutes before the end of the match. Break out. I broke out in a rash after our camping trip. Gasping, fighting for breath, she crouched on the cold floor, breaking out in sweat. Bring down. The vote will not bring down the government. This sad music is bringing me down. Bring up. She was brought up by her aunt. My grandparents brought me up here after my parents died. Bring up. She's always bringing up her health problems. She was crying so much I thought she'd bring up her dinner. Bring on. His lung cancer was brought on by years of smoking. Bring on. Her new piano teacher has really brought her on. Bring it on. If you want to fight me so bad, bring it on. Call around. We called around, but we weren't able to find our son. She's calling around to borrow money. Call back. I called the company back, but the offices were closed for the weekend. She said she'd call back later to pick up that report. Call off. Jason called the wedding off because he wasn't in love with his fiancée. Tomorrow's match has been called off because of the icy weather. Call on. The professor called on me for question 1. We called on you last night, but you weren't home. Call up. Give me your phone number and I will call you up when we are in town. Calm down. You are still mad? You need to calm down before you drive a car. She was angry at first, but we managed to calm her down. Not careful. I don't care for his behavior. Catch up. You'll have to run faster than that if you want to catch up with him. He was off school for a while and is finding it hard to catch up. Check in. We will get the hotel keys when we check in. You must check in at least 1 hour before takeoff. Check out. I checked out of the hotel before dinner. We checked out of the hotel and went to the airport. Check out. The company checks out all new employees. We'll need to check out his story. Check out. Check out the crazy hair on that guy. Check out this terrible house right now. Cheer up. She cheered up when she heard the good news. Cheer up. It's not that bad. Cheer up. She was sick, so I sent her some flowers to cheer her up. She went shopping to cheer herself up. Chip in. If everyone chips in, we can get the kitchen painted by noon. They all chipped in £100 and bought their mother a trip to Greece. Clean up. I have to clean things up before the guests arrive. We need a mayor who is tough enough to clean up this town. Come across. He came across some of his old love letters in his wife's desk. I came across children sleeping under bridges. Come apart. My book just came apart in my hands. My boots are coming apart at the seams. Come down. My neighbor came down with chickenpox this weekend. I think I'm coming down with a flu. Come forward. The woman came forward with her husband's fingerprints. Police have asked witnesses of the accident to come forward. Come from someplace. Some of the best wines come from France. I could hear loud snores coming from Jim's bedroom. Count on. She's counting on you to make dinner while she's out. I can count on my parents to help me out. Cross out. Please cross out your old address and write your new one. If you think it's wrong, cross it out and write it again. Cut back on. My doctor wants me to cut back on sweets and fatty foods. If we don't sell more, we'll have to cut back production. Cut down. I need to cut this section down to 500 words. The doctor told him to cut down on his drinking. Cut in. She kept cutting in on our conversation. The bus driver got angry when the car cut in. The air conditioner cuts in when the temperature gets to 22 degrees. Cut off. The doctors cut off his finger because it was severely injured. Deal in. They mainly deal in rare books. My uncle is a stockbroker. He deals in stocks and bonds. Deal with. I've been dealing with him for the past several years. I'm on medication to deal with my depression problem. Decide on. We decide on a wedding date. I've decided on blue for the bathroom. Declare. She declared for the new airport plan. Defer to. I have to defer to my boss on important decisions. Delight in. Some people delight in the misfortunes of others. My brother always delights in telling me when I make a mistake. Deliver up. All the firm's accounting records have now been delivered up to the court. Depart from. I see no reason for us to depart from our usual practice. At this point in the speech, the minister departed from his prepared text. Depend on, upon. You can always depend on Michael in a crisis. You can't always depend on flights arriving on time. Die away. The sound of his footsteps gradually died away. Die down. It was several minutes before the applause died down. Die off. Hypothesized pesticides were causing bees to die off across the country. Die out. Dinosaurs died out millions of years ago. It's a custom that is beginning to die out. Do for. Driving on those rough roads has really done for my car. Do over. They said they'd do me over if I refused to drive a getaway car. The teacher told him to do the assignment over. Do away with. Black Friday is time we did away with the $50 fine. Computerization has enabled us to do away with a lot of paperwork. Do up. Do your coat up before you go outside. It's snowing. Can you help me do up my dress? Dress up. It's a fancy restaurant, so we have to dress up. You don't need to dress up to go to the mall. Jeans and a t-shirt are fine. Drive in. The star and her manager drove in today from their motor tour across the country. His line double drove in Jim Lemon with the winning run. Drop back. Unless something totally unexpected happens and oil drops back below $50 a barrel, fares will continue to rise. Beatrice dropped back to third place when she fell off her bike. Drop in, by, over. I might drop in for tea sometime this week. You never drop by his office. You should announce him before coming. Drop off. We dropped our luggage off at the hotel and went sightseeing. I dropped the kids off at the party. Dry off. He rubbed his head vigorously with a towel to dry off his wet hair. I dried myself off and got dressed. Dry out. He went to a clinic in Arizona to dry out. Drop out. I dropped out of science because it was too difficult. He dropped out of school when he was 16. Eat into. The high cost of living in London is eating into my savings. Eat out. I don't feel like cooking tonight. Let's eat out. It costs a lot of money to eat out often. Edit out. Most of the violent scenes were edited out for television. End up. I think that the party will have to end up about midnight. We ended up renting a movie instead of going to the theatre. Fall apart. My new dress fell apart in a washing machine. I really have to replace this bag. It's fallen apart. Fall down. Our apple tree fell down in the storm. She fell down to her knees and prayed. Fall out. As things fell out, we had a wonderful trip. All the soldiers fell out and talked amongst themselves. His hair started to fall out when he was only 35. Feel for. I know what it's like to be lonely, so I do feel for her. Figure out. Can you figure out the answer to question 5? As soon as she figures out what happened, you're in trouble. Fill in. Please fill in the form with your name, address, and phone number. You had better fill the crack in with something before you paint the wall. Fill out. About a month after debilitating illness, Maggie began to fill out again. Please fill out the form before you call for an appointment. Fill up. Too many spam emails are filling up our inboxes. I always fill the water jug up when it's empty. Find out. We don't know where he lives. How can we find out? The kids don't want their parents to find them out. Find out. I found something out that you might be interested in. We tried to keep the time of the party secret, but Sabrina found out. Finish off. I want to finish off this essay before I go to bed. Finish up. You'll finish up dead if you carry on drinking like that. She married a Spaniard and finished up in Barcelona. Finish with. Have you finished with that magazine? Fire back. He fired back a letter that said he wasn't going to negotiate with the firm. The government fired back at critics with a report accusing its biggest trading partners of unfair trade practices. Fire off. They fired off several shots to frighten us. Firm up. Could we have a meeting so we can firm up the details of our agreement? Fit in. It's no surprise she's leaving. She never really fitted in. It's a very nice sofa, but it doesn't fit in with the rest of the room. Flip out. I nearly flipped out when she told me she and David were getting married. Get across, over. My teacher didn't understand. I tried to get my point across. He tries to understand what I'm talking about, but I can't get it over. Get over. I have to get over to Molly's place and pick up some papers. I can't find a way to get over. Get over. She's getting over the flu. They're upset that you didn't call, but they'll get over it. Get along, on. My kids and their cousins really get along with each other. Look, how do you get on with John? Get on. Can you get on without your secretary for a while? They just announced that it's time to get on the aeroplane. Get away. We walk to the next beach to get away from the crowds. I'll get away from work as soon as I can. Get away with. Jason always gets away with cheating in his math tests. The kidnapper got away with little Brian. Get back. We got back from our vacation last week. When we got back to the hotel, Anne had already left. Get back. He went next door to get his ball back. Don't lend him money. You'll never get it back. Get back at. My sister got back at me for stealing her shoes. She stole my favorite hat. I'll get you back for this. Just you wait. Get back into. I finally got back into my novel and finished it. I am getting back into my Khmer lessons after summer break. Get on. We're going to freeze out here if you don't let us get on the train. I think we got on the wrong bus. Get over. I just got over the flu. They're upset that you didn't call, but they'll get over it. Get round to, get around to. I don't know when I'm going to get around to writing a novel. After weeks of putting it off, she finally got around to painting the bedroom. Get together. Let's get together for a barbecue this weekend. Shall we get together on Friday and go for a drink or something? Get up. I got up early today to study for my exam. You should get up and give the elderly man your seat. Give away. I gave the old clothing away to Tom. Don't give away my secret. Don't give away my answer. Give away. His friend gave him away to the police. Mr. Franklin gave Amy away to Terry just as he had done in the rehearsal. Give back. I had to give these skates back to Franz before his hockey game. Has she given you those books back yet? Give in. And my boyfriend didn't want to go to the ballet, but he finally gave in. He nagged me so much for a new bike that eventually I gave in. Give out. They were giving out free perfume samples at a department store. The teacher gave the test papers out. Give up. I gave coffee up because of the caffeine. You should give up smoking. Go after. My brother tried to go after the thief in his car. The bear went after the hunting dogs. Go after. I went after my dream and now I am a published writer. Are you planning to go after Paul's job when he leaves? Go against. The judge's decision went against us. The vote went against her. She lost the vote. Go ahead. Please go ahead and eat before the food gets cold. The car carrying a parade marshal went ahead of the others. Go back. I have to go back home and get my lunch. That's where I came from, and I'll never go back. Go out. We're going out for dinner tonight. Please close the door as you go out. Go out with. Jessie has been going out with Luke since they met last winter. How long have you been going out with him? Go over. Let's go over the rules before we begin. Can you please go over it again, more slowly? Go over. The doctor will go over you very carefully, I'm sure. The lawyers are busy going over the details of the contract. Go over to. We went over to Cedar Point and spent the day having fun. John went over to the other side of the stadium for the rest of the tournament. Go without. When I was young, we went without winter boots. We can go without food for only so long. You think you can go without sleep, but you can't. Grow apart. My friend and I grew apart after she changed schools. These trees tend to grow apart from each other as they get bigger. Grow back. My lizard's tail grew back in a few months. The roses grew back this summer. Grow into. The child grew into a tall, powerful athlete. The army makes a boy grow into a man. I hope this matter doesn't grow into something worse. Grow out of. Elizabeth needs a new pair of shoes because she has grown out of her old ones. His book grew out of a trip to South America as a member of a government commission. Grow up. I grew up in Vietnam. She wants to be a doctor when she grows up. Hand down. I handed my old comic books down to my little cousin. John handed his old shirts down to his younger brother. Hand in. I have to hand in my essay by Friday. Did you hand your application form in? Hand out. We will hand out the invitations at the door. She handed out large fines to everyone. Hand over. The police asked the man to hand over his wallet and his weapons. The kidnappers handed the child over to the go-between. Hang in. We decided to hang in until we had figured out why the experiment had failed. Hang in there. I'm sure you'll find a job very soon. Hang on. Hang on a minute. I'll be with you in a moment. Sally's on the other phone. Would you like to hang on? Hang out. Instead of going to the party, we're just going to hang out at my place. Your shirt tail is hanging out of your pants. Hang up. He didn't say goodbye before he hung up. I'm going to hang up now, so call me back if you can. Hear from. We haven't heard from her for ages. You'll be hearing from my solicitors. Hear of. I wanted to pay, but she wouldn't hear of it. Hear out. At least hear me out before making up your mind. Help out. On weekends, the husband helps out in the kitchen. Her parents helped her out with a £500 loan. Hit back. In tonight's speech, the minister is expected to hit back at critics who have attacked her handling of the crisis. Hit on. Some guy hit on me while I was standing at the bar. Hit out. The Medical Association yesterday hit out at government cuts in healthcare services. Hold back. I had to hold my dog back because there was a cat in the park. Hold back. Jamie held back his tears at his grandfather's funeral. They talk about everything and hold back nothing. Hold back from. We were worried about viewers' reactions, so we held back from broadcasting the show. She held back from joining the others. Hold on. Please hold on while I transfer you to the sales department. Hold on, I'll check in my diary. Hold on to. Hold on to your hat, because it's very windy outside. She might be better off holding on to her old computer for a year or two. Hold up. Johnny is falling asleep. Please hold him up until I prepare the bed for him. A man in a black mask held the bank up this morning. Driving the kids to school held me up. Invite in. The neighbors invited us in for a coffee. Invite over. Tony and Nick are over for dinner. Let's invite over some new people. Issue from. A terrible scream issued from the room. Jump at. She jumped at the chance of a trip to Paris. If something you really want to do comes your way, jump at it. Jump in. I wish you would stop jumping in and finishing my sentences for me all the time. I made a big mistake when I jumped in the middle of a discussion. Jump on. He jumped on a plane and flew out of Chicago for the convention. The cat jumped on the mouse. Keep on doing. Keep on staring until the liquid comes to a boil. Are you going to keep on singing all night? Keep from. Why did you keep the news from me? We kept our relationship from our parents for 2 years. Keep out. Try to keep the wet dog out the living room. You should keep out of a dark room when the door is closed. Keep up. If you keep those results up, you will get into a great college. I read the papers to keep up with what's happening in the outside world. Let down. When I was sent to prison, I really felt I had let my parents down. I'm relying on your help. Please don't let me down. Let in. Can you let the cat in before you go to school? She opened the door and let me in. Log in or on. About 40,000 gamers have been logging on every day since the website appeared last month. I can't log into Facebook because I've forgotten my password. Log out, log off. If you don't log off, somebody can get into your account. Don't forget to log out your Facebook account. Look after. I have to look after my sick grandmother. If you look after your clothes, they last a lot longer. Look down on. She thinks they look down on her because she doesn't have a job. My mother had social pretensions and looked down on most of our neighbours. Look for. I'm looking for a long dress for the wedding. Howard has been looking for you. Look into. We are going to look into the price of snowboards today. The police looked into his business dealings. Look out. Look out! The car's going to hit you. The police have warned shopkeepers to look out for forged notes. Look out for. Don't forget to look out for snakes on the hiking trail. Look out for Anna while you're there. Look over. Can you look over my essay for spelling mistakes? I had a few minutes before the meeting to look over what he'd written. Look up. We can look her phone number up on the internet. Our financial situation is looking up at last. Look up. My little sister has always looked up to me. Everyone in the class looked up to the teacher. Make up. If you can't think of what to write, just make something up. I made up an excuse about having to look after the kid. Make up. We were angry last night, but we made up at breakfast. They kissed and made up, as usual. Make up. You have to make up the clowns before you start on the other characters in a play. My mother made me up for my graduation party. Mix up. If you mix the photos up in these envelopes, I'll never find them. Don't mix up the papers on my desk. Pass away. His uncle passed away last night after a long illness. Pass out. It was so hot in the church that an elderly lady passed out. I was hit on the head and passed out. Pass out. The professor passed the textbooks out before class. Please pass out these papers to everyone. Pass up. I passed up the job because I am afraid of change. Philip could never pass up a chance to tell you how much he hated lawyers. Payback. If I could borrow £20, I'll pay you back next week. They promised to pay me back, and they never did. Pay for. I don't like what you did to me, and I'm going to see that you pay for it. The criminal will pay for his crimes. Pick out. I picked out 3 sweaters for you to try on. I picked out Jerry out of all the boys in a class. Point out. I'll point my boyfriend out when he runs by. Everyone pointed the error out. Put down. The police used tear gas to put the riot down. We had to put $500 down and paid the rest in installments. Put someone down. The students put the substitute teacher down because his pants were too short. Can I put you down for potato salad? Put off. I have to put off our meeting until a later time. I put off a visit to the dentist as long as I could. Put off. I hate to keep putting you off, but we're not ready to deal with you yet. You really put people off with your scowling face. I won't talk to the reporters. Tell them something that will put them off. Put out. The neighbours put the fire out before the firemen arrived. The factory put a lot of fumes out. That factory puts electrical supplies out. Put out. Would you be put out if we cancelled our plans for dinner tomorrow? It always put him out when he was asked to wait while someone answered another call. Put together. I have to put the crib together before the baby arrives. When Sherlock Holmes puts together all the facts, he found the answer. Put up with. I don't think I can put up with 3 small children in a car. We can put up with John's living here until he finds a place of his own. Put on. Put some sunscreen on before you go out. You'd better put your coat on. It's cold outside. Do you mind if I put some music on? Run into. The project has run into millions of dollars without any prospect of a return on this investment. I ran into an old school friend on the train. Run over. I accidentally run over your bicycle in the driveway. He was run over by a bus as he crossed the road. Run over through. Let's run over these lines one more time before the show. Run away. The child ran away from home and he has been missing for 3 days. He ran away from home as a child. Run out. I almost ran out of money. The milk has run out. Send back. My letter got sent back to me because I used the wrong stamp. I had to send the shirt back because it didn't fit me. Set up. He just set up his own company. A secretary set up a meeting with the president of the company. Set up. The police set up a car thief by using a hidden camera. Shop around. When you're buying a flight, you should always shop around for the best deal. I want to shop around a little before I decide on these boots. Show off. He always shows off his skateboard. Stop showing off and do your job. Sleep over. You should sleep over tonight if the weather is too bad to drive home. My niece is sleeping over on Friday night. Sort out. I must sort out my drawers. Have you sorted out your schedule yet? Stick to. You will lose weight if you stick to the diet. Michelangelo. Painting these walls is quite tiresome. I think I'll stick to the ceiling from now on. Take after. I take after my mother. We are both impatient. Pete is very tall. He takes after his father. Take apart. He took the computer apart. She took apart the gun to clean it. Take back. Did you take those books back to the library? I have to take our new TV back because it doesn't work. Take off. My plane takes off in 5 minutes. Take out. He reached into his bag and took out a book. Can you take the garbage out to the street for me? Take out. My grandparents took us out for dinner and a movie. Our boss took us out for lunch. Tear up. He tore up her photograph. I tore up my ex-boyfriend's letters. Think back. When I think back on my youth, I wish I had studied harder. It might help you to understand Julia if you think back to when you were her age. Think over. I'll have to think this job offer over before I make my final decision. I'll think it over and give you an answer next week. Throw away. We threw our old furniture away when we won the lottery. He read the magazine and threw it away. Turn off. How do you turn the computer off? Your mother wants you to turn the TV off and come for dinner. Turn on. It's too dark in here. Let's turn some lights on. Jack turned the TV on. Turn up. Can you turn the music up? This is my favorite song. Turn up. The missing letter eventually turned up inside a book. I expect a new job will turn up soon. Try on. I'm going to try these jeans on, but I don't think they will fit. She likes trying on her mum's clothes. Try out. I am going to try this new brand of detergent out. Lanny is trying out her new bicycle. Use up. Don't use up all the milk. We need some for breakfast. The kids used all of the toothpaste up, so we need to buy some more. Wake up. We have to wake up early for work on Monday. Wake up, Daniel. It's your turn. Warm up. I always warm up by doing sit-ups before I go for a run. If you don't warm up before exercising, you risk injuring yourself. Work out. Our plan worked out fine. I work out at the gym 3 times a week. Make sure you drink plenty of water if you are working out.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more videos.